For years, the German Bundesliga, French Ligue 1 and the other leagues ranked below them in Europe have been referred to as the Farmers' Leagues because fans of La Liga and the Premier League believe that the quality in those leagues are so bad that it feels like most of the players there could be part-time farmers. But well, in recent years it has started to look like teams from these Farmers' Leagues are now the ones tearing things apart and actually putting up a show in Europe. I mean, the reigning champions of Europe are a team from Ligue Un, a league that everyone calls a Farmers' League. But let's even say we want to focus on very recent events, the first leg of the Champions League semi-finals for example. Bayern Munich and PSG looked really sharp and produced a box office of a match. The energies were high, the match was entertaining, and the quality was very obvious. But the following day we saw Arsenal and Atleti, clubs from the two best leagues in Europe, and there was a stark difference. There was much less attacking quality on display, less excitement, and notably, less freshness in the legs of the players. These are observations that were made by many fans and journalists after the game, and everyone has been asking why this is the current situation of things. Well, we'll try and explain that in this video today. This is why the Farmers' Leagues are now dominating in Europe.
Football's more than a game. It's passion, pride, glory. This World Cup season, Goal90 brings you our biggest offer yet. Buy 3 jerseys and get 1 free. That's 4 jerseys for the price of 3. And yes, free worldwide shipping. This is a limited time World Cup special only until April the 30th. So move fast. Pick your jerseys. Wear your passion. Own the moment before they're gone. Visit Goal90 shop. Link in the description.
Well, ironically, the number one reason they are dominating in Europe is because they're in Farmers' Leagues. You see, because their leagues aren't very competitive, they can afford to rest their best players and keep them fresh for the big Champions League matches. This is a luxury that Premier League and La Liga teams just cannot really afford. In Spain and in England, there are hardly any easy league games. Rest your players in one game, and that mid-table or even relegation-threatened club can just come in and ruin your entire season. And the fact that those other leagues are less competitive also means that they have more margin for error. Even if PSG or Bayern Munich lose some league games after having rested a few of their main players, it likely won't do much to their lead at the top of the table, because the difference in quality between them and the rest of the league is just so vast. But in La Liga or the Premier League, one loss can be very damaging for your ambitions. Things like this help the players from Germany and France come in fresher for those European knockout games, while the ones from Spain and England come in knackered. And well, the ones who aren't tired are injured. Injuries are a byproduct of insanely competitive leagues, tight schedules, and little rest. Once the new year comes around, everything starts to get really serious everywhere all at once. The title race, Champions League knockout phase, and domestic cups all get really tight, and Premier League and La Liga clubs find it difficult to properly rotate during this period because they don't want to lose it all and they can't exactly afford to just put all their eggs in one basket. This could lead to a lot of the main players picking up injuries just ahead of big Champions League games. I mean, look at this season for example. In the game between Arsenal and Atleti, Havertz, Timber and Merino could not feature at all because of injuries, while Eze, Saka, Calafiori and Odegaard were not fully fit coming into that game. On the other side, Atleti had Jimenez, Nicolas Gonzalez and their best midfielder Pablo Barrios all out due to injury, while Alvarez and Simeone couldn't complete the game due to injuries they picked up in the course of the match. Now, go to the other game and the only first-team player who was missing from both sides was Serge Gnabry and then Achraf Hakimi, who picked up a hamstring injury during the game. That's all. This paints a very clear picture. The stiffer competition, tighter schedules and higher demands in England and Spain puts a lot of strain on the bodies of the players, leading to injuries and a lack of match sharpness. That hugely contributed to the difference in quality we saw in both those games, and we know that some people might argue that Atleti have been resting their players in recent weeks, and that's true, but they have been paying dearly for it. They have won just one of their last 5 La Liga games and now find themselves 25 points off the top of La Liga. If they have to continue resting players between now and the end of the season, a few more losses in the league could really see them risk losing their place in the top 4. So, this actually even makes our point for us. Teams in Spain and England know that resting players is tantamount to throwing away their league ambitions, but the likes of PSG and Bayern Munich can rest players and still cruise to the league title. I mean, we just saw Bayern Munich get crowned champions of Germany once again in April. Essentially, the league was already mathematically closed before the semi-final first leg, so they could afford to take their minds off the Bundesliga and focus fully on the most important games in the Champions League. Arsenal, meanwhile, will probably see the Premier League title race go down to the very last day of the season, and unless they want to throw it away, they cannot afford to rest players anywhere at all. Another factor that cannot be ignored is resources. Big clubs in Germany and France are allowed to spend however they like, and this allows them to stockpile world-class talents in different positions. These teams also almost always have a free run at the best talents in the league, but in England and Spain, you don't have quite as much freedom. The spending is regulated and there's competition for the top talents in the league. And let's not forget the latest trend of PSG being able to get their league games postponed just so they can have a full week of rest ahead of their European knockout games. We saw them do this in between their 2 round of 16 legs against Chelsea and in between their 2 quarter-final legs against Liverpool. Meanwhile, their England counterparts had to play against respectable opponents in the league like Newcastle and Fulham in between those games. In fact, despite the protests of title contenders Lens, PSG was still able to get the league to postpone a potential title decider just so that they can be well rested for their Champions League games. Some people think that these things don't matter, but they actually do. I mean, why would PSG insist on doing this repeatedly if it really doesn't matter? It's actually just simple biology. When your best players arrive at the business end of the season with fresher legs and fresher minds, it surely gives them a massive advantage, especially in games where the margins are expected to be really small. And we're not just saying this, the numbers actually do back up our claims. We're in May and Ndombele has played only 931 Ligue 1 minutes, Kvara has played 1,323, while Doué has played 1,154. That's 3,408 league minutes combined for those 3 players. Declan Rice alone has played 2,855 Premier League minutes this season. The difference is just alarming, and it is ignorant to expect that it won't have any effect in the biggest games of the season. But we'll also agree that it is ignorant to not consider that a lot of what we saw in those semi-final games was just down to different philosophies and styles of play from both sides. Fresh legs or not, neither Arsenal nor Atleti would have come out all guns blazing simply because that's just not how the coaches like to play. I mean, if we had Manchester City and Barcelona instead of Arsenal and Atleti, that other semi-final would likely also have produced a goal fest in spite of their very competitive leagues. But then again, could it also be that these exciting teams from Spain and England could not get as far as the semis because of these issues we have discussed in this video? What do you think? We would like to hear from you guys. What would you say is the main reason why the Farmers' Leagues are now dominating in the Champions League? I mean, they produced a winner last year, and if the semi-final games are anything to go by, it is looking like they are favourites to produce the winner again this season. Get in the comments and share your opinions with us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.